Słuchasz podcastu Angielski z Konradem. Nowe odcinki każdego tygodnia. Jeśli chcesz popracować nad płynnością, nabrać odwagi do konwersacji, skorygować często popełniane błędy bądź poznać skuteczne metody nauki, ta audycja jest dla Ciebie. Remember, you're not at school, so chill out, kick back and enjoy yourself. Let's begin. Witaj w kolejnym odcinku. Zanim zaczniemy, pozwól, że pokrótce przypomnę, jak możesz wykorzystać mój podcast. Jeżeli czujesz się pewnie ze swoim angielskim, wystarczy, że przesłuchasz audycji. Dla tych z Was, którzy potrzebują odrobiny pomocy, pamiętajcie o notatkach do odcinka. Zatrzymuj podcast, przejrzyj notatki, w razie potrzeby powtórz nagranie. Zapisz się do newslettera za pośrednictwem strony angielskiskonradem.pl, by otrzymać natychmiastowy dostęp do notatek z tego i wszystkich poprzednich odcinków. Dostaniesz również powiadomienia o nowych odcinkach. Jeżeli masz pytania, uwagi bądź sugestie, skontaktuj się ze mną za pośrednictwem adresu angielskiskonradem@gmail.com bądź za pośrednictwem fanpage'a Angielski z Konradem na Facebooku. Switching to English. Hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Angielski z Konradem. I hope you are well, ready and willing to learn. Enjoy the show. No vocabulary this week. Today's episode is dedicated completely to the topic of vocabulary. There's going to be a lot of example sentences, so be sure to have your notes handy. As human beings, we are playful creatures by nature. Who doesn't like to have some fun whenever an opportunity arises? Our ingenuity is not limited to inventions and discoveries which push us to new heights of efficiency. How efficient, in general terms, can you become by playing with a yo-yo, for example, or a Game Boy? Not only do we invent new toys to play with, we also toy with our language. That's where idioms come into play. They are expressions which have hidden figurative meaning. They are never to be taken in a literal sense. Idioms are very common, which means that native speakers use them all the time. If idioms are a non-essential part of speech, that begs the question, why should I care about all this? Well, first of all, you're not a robot. Neither are others. Communication is not always about efficiency. Moreover, sometimes simple words just aren't enough to describe a particular situation. I'm going to introduce you to some of the most popular idioms in English, according to the aptly called website, theidioms.com. The link is in the description. In addition, I will provide you with an approximate idiom in Polish. I may argue about a few of those entries, but they probably have got site statistics to support their choice. Let's begin with my personal favorite, when pigs fly. When pigs fly. This idiom is used to describe a situation that is very unlikely to happen, impossible even. Gdy kaktus wyrośnie mi na dłoni would be an appropriate equivalent in Polish. Now, some example sentences. Politicians will start telling the truth when pigs fly. Only when pigs fly will Danny tidy his room. Sooner pigs will fly than Conrad will dye his hair. Another idiom, play the devil's advocate. Play the devil's advocate. The Devil's Advocate is not only the title of a great film starring Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves, but also a common idiom in English. To play the devil's advocate is to take a controversial stance in a discussion or to defend an opinion held by a minority. Such an action has an ulterior motive, however. We play the devil's advocate mostly to make people think seriously about the topic discussed. It has a lot in common with reverse psychology. You take an opposite side on the argument in order to convince people to your claims. Now, example sentences. Barry decided to play the devil's advocate by stating that the clean air tax is a good idea. George played the devil's advocate with the idea of the earth being flat in order to make those people listen to reason. The next two idioms are very similar in meaning, so I'll put them together. A bed of roses. A bed of roses. A piece of cake. A piece of cake. We have a near identical idiom in Polish, coś jest usłane różami. In case of a piece of cake, there's a similar food-related idiom as well, bułka z masłem. If something is a bed of roses to you or a piece of cake, it means that it is very easy and requires little effort, although the former is used in more general conditions. A bed of roses often refers to life in general, while a piece of cake may refer to any activity you find easy. Morgan's life is a bed of roses, not a care in the world. Riding a bicycle is a piece of cake. Taking care of a toddler is no bed of roses. A hot potato. A hot potato. I found that this particular idiom does not have its equivalent in Polish, but I see it pop up every now and then, translated directly to gorący ziemniak. A hot potato is an issue on which people very often take opposite sides, and as a result it causes a disagreement. For example, the issue of gun control in the USA is a hot potato among Americans. Lately we had a hot potato of our own with the issue of proposed wage rises in the Parliament. What we ended up with was the usual, putting the blame on others, passing this hot potato around, in a literal and figurative sense. If you follow politics at least a bit, then you know what I mean. An apple of an eye. An apple of an eye. It refers to a person, usually a person, not necessarily, who is very precious, very dear to us. Usually children or lovers. Again, there is a very similar expression in Polish, oczko w głowie. Now, example sentences. Regardless of age, a child remains an apple of their parents' eye. He cleans his car with a nappy. It must be an apple of his eye. How could I ever hurt you? You're an apple of my eye. Let's move on to another idiom. Zip a lip. Zip a lip. If you hear this playful rhyme, it means that somebody is asking you to stop talking. Plain and simple. Up until the 18th century, as you may imagine, people used to button their lips. Funny how technology changes our language. Now, on to the examples. Zip your lip and rub my back. How about you do as you are told and zip your lips for a change? I thought that if I zipped my lips, you wouldn't notice me. We will finish this episode up with a combo, 3 idioms in one. All talk and no walk. All show and no go. All bark and no bite. Those 3 idioms mean pretty much the same thing. Namely, a person is presenting himself to be bigger than life, only to turn out to be quite the opposite. Someone is good at keeping up appearances, but not much else. Imagine a skateboarder, for example, who claims to know a lot of tricks. Whenever he gets asked to do one, He always finds excuses. He's wearing the wrong shoes, his skateboard is broken, he's got a headache, and so on and so forth. Here's an example. Barry claimed to be a skateboard wizard. Turns out he's all talk and no walk. A person may appear professional simply by having professional equipment. Harry has got all these expensive golf clubs, but he's all show and no go. Finally, a person might threaten you to take some action against you, but you know that these are only empty threats, nothing to be afraid of. Chad won't report you. He's all bark and no bite. I think that's enough idioms for today. Now it's up to you. Try to come up with other situations where a particular idiom is suitable. Have a go and introduce idioms to your everyday speech. If you liked the topic of idioms, please let me know. I might do more episodes such as this one in the future. And that's the conclusion of today's podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for listening. I'll talk to you next time.